Hi guys, so following on from my Michael Myers ranked film set that we did, I thought it's about time I moved on to one of the other horror franchises that's close to my heart, and that's Friday the 13th. So guys, I'm a big fan of all horror slashers and all horrors in general really, but slashers are my main go-to. And yeah, we did a ranking video of Michael Myers films, so check that out if you haven't seen that already. But I thought now it's time to give you my 2 cents on Friday the 13th and how I rank those films. So we're going to have a look at that today. So there are 12 films in the franchise, and we're going to start off with number 12 and make our way up to number 1. So coming in at number 12 is Jason Goes to Hell. Now, the reason this is number 12 is quite pure and simple, is that it's not really a Friday the 13th Jason Voorhees film. It's more of just a generic horror film. It's actually got a good premise, but unfortunately when it's falling under the Friday the 13th banner and you've got the iconic Jason Voorhees and he's barely even in it when he looks so good as well, that's a problem. So it's going to fall bottom of the list just on that basis. Jason, however, does look really good in this film, and it's a shame we don't get to see much of him. He's one of the better looking Jasons actually out there. So yeah, it's a shame we don't get to see more of him, but that's a really quick and easy one, guys. That's number 12, and that's Jason Goes to Hell. So coming in at number 11 is Freddy vs. Jason. Now, I loved this one when I was younger. It was actually the first Jason film I saw. But after I become a fan of the series and I've watched more Friday the 13th films and fell in love with the character a little bit more, I just feel like it's quite removed from the Jason Voorhees that we all came to know and love. Obviously, he's played by a different actor. And that's part of it. Kane Hodder is the main Jason, I think, for everybody. Although some of his Jason films weren't as good as some of the others, which we'll get into. But yeah, they didn't do Kane Hodder and Robert Englund, which was annoying. And rewatching it now, I don't think it stands the test of time. Robert Englund's great, and he's always been great as Freddy. But it's a fun film. I like all of these films, don't get me wrong, but I have to put them in some sort of ranking order. And yeah, this one's next, just because it's not a great Jason film again. And that seems to be a common theme with these bottom tier films for me anyway. So coming in at number 10 is New Blood. So Friday 13th, part 7, Jason and the New Blood. Now, I'm torn with this one because Jason looks great in this. It's Kane Hodder. It's awesome. But then you've got this stupid storyline with the girl and she's psychic, and I don't know. I just can't get on board with it. I've watched it quite a few times and I just can never get on board with this psychic power rubbish. It's just odd to me. I just don't like it. So yeah, unfortunately, that's going to have to be number 10 on that one. So yeah, it's number 10. Part 7 is number 10. New Blood. So number 9, guys, 6, Jason Takes Manhattan. Now, what do I say about this film? Again, Kane Hodder is great as Jason. He looks good. The storyline follows on nicely, but the problem I have with it is he ignores far too many people when he gets to Manhattan. So he'll just be walking the streets in part of the film and he's just ignoring everybody when his main goal is to kill anyone and anyone. And they haven't really even done anything, but yet there's people there that he walks past and ignores. There should have been a lot more killing. That's what I'm saying. There should have been like police on him. He should have been slaughtering them, eating bullets. There could have been a lot better story with that. But there wasn't. And I didn't like the end sewer scene either. I think he looked ridiculous. So just for those main points, I didn't like it. It's still a fun film. The guitar kill was one of my favourites, and the disco on the boat is great. But yeah, unfortunately, that slips into number 9 spot. So we're in the top 10. And yeah, these are still all good films, don't get me wrong, but Manhattan's falling in that spot for me. Okay, so I went back and forth on this one. Number 8 is part 1, just the original Friday the 13th. Now, the reason it's here and not higher is mainly because it doesn't have Jason Voorhees in it. I mean, it does as a child, but it's mainly about his mum. I do like that iconic twist. Unfortunately, you can't really watch it and get the joy of that twist because it's been spoilt so many times because it's common knowledge. It's like Star Wars and Darth Vader being Luke's dad. You're not really going to get to experience that. You're going to know that going in, which unfortunately ruins that twist a little bit because people can't keep their fucking mouth shut. But hey ho, there you go. So yeah, it's a little bit old and dated, but it's good. The way it's filmed is good. And yeah, I was going to put it a little bit higher, but there's too many good Jason Voorhees films, Hockey Mask and Baghead still to come. So yeah, that fell into the number 8 spot for me. And that's the original Friday the 13th. This top 7 was ridiculously hard for me. So, okay, here we go. So number 7 is Jason X. Okay, Jason Goes to Fucking Space. Amazing. Now, this film is real comical, and I think it's because you're sending out to space. A lot of the Friday the 13th films are funny. They're that sort of right mix of slasher where he's scary enough, but stuff happens that's funny enough that it's the perfect blend for slasher series. And yeah, him going to space was fucking hilarious. It was a great idea. Kane Hodder smashes it again because he's super serious in this role, and that makes some of the funny bits even funnier because Jason's not fucking around. And yeah, the cryogenic face freeze, Uber Jason, you can't beat that. He looks phenomenal. I actually do wish we'd have got another film following up from that. There's 12 films in the Friday the 13th franchise, so you've got to imagine they're going to do the 13 film, right? Come on, that just makes sense. F13, and it'll be the F13th film. No? Okay, well, hopefully they do. And hopefully it's Kane Hodder again, because he's great. But yeah, great film. And yeah, this fills the number 8 spot. Number 7 spot. We've done number 8. This fills the number 7 spot. And the top 7 was very, very difficult. All of these are interchangeable for me, really. So coming in at number 6 is part 4. So part 4 is a great Friday the 13th film. Jason is phenomenal in it. The only thing I didn't like about this that bumps it down to number 4 is how the film ends. So spoiler alert if you haven't seen it already. So I didn't like Corey Feldman shaving his head to become baby Jason. The time frame wouldn't work for shaving your head. I've shaved my head countless times, and you don't do it that quickly. It doesn't make any sense how he would fit that in the time Jason's in the house. So that annoys me. And just the fact that he did it anyway, and that's how they kill Jason, and then he kills Jason. No, I'm not about that life. So yeah, it bumps it down to where it is at number 6. So yeah, if it didn't have that, if they sort of changed that a little bit, then alternative ending, then it probably would have been higher because it's a really good Friday the 13th film. But unfortunately, just due to that, I just can't get on board with it. I didn't like it. I don't like Jason being killed by a child. I just feel like it's a bit ridiculous. But yeah, so that's number 6. So at number 5, guys, number 5, guys, is actually part 5. So it's your boy Roy, and he's imitating Jason, and I really like that twist on it with that original story. He does a good job impersonating Jason. The film overall was really good, and yeah, it was just nice to have that additional twist in the films because you think it's Jason throughout. When I first watched it, I didn't actually know the twist, and I was like, I just couldn't get over the blue marks on his face, and I was like, Jason's mask is red. Why have they changed it? And I kept thinking that, and then at the end it made more sense, and I was like, it's not Jason. So yeah, they honey-dicked me on that one, and I'm glad there was a twist in one of these films that could actually resonate. And yeah, that's great. So 5 at 5, your boy Roy. So number 4 is part 6, Jason Lives. So this is a really good Friday the 13th film. The way they brought him back to life, very much like the original Frankenstein. And I'm a fan of the old Hammer horror, so straight away they hooked me in, even though they completely ripped it off. It's fine, it's good. And you've got Tommy Jarvis, who's in his full prime. He's an adult now. He's no longer the annoying Corey Feldman. And yeah, it's Jason versus Tommy, and that's it. That's what it should be. And it's a really good film. Good kills in it. Jason's good again. All the actors that played Jason were good, actually. I can't rank them, really. I mean, obviously Kane Hodder's number 1, but a lot of the films he were in weren't the best. So it sucks for him, really. If he'd have been in all of them, then, that probably would have boosted some of the other Jason films that he's not in. But, the people that play Jason were all good. Even Kane Hodder. Or not even Kane Hodder. All the people that played Jason did a good job. So there we go. So yeah, so number 4, part 6, Jason Lives. So funnily enough, part 3 is Friday the 13th, part 3. In at number 3. 3 for 3. So yeah, this is number 3 because it's where he gets his first iconic hockey mask. He's got that kind of hunchback thing going on. And yeah, I was a little bit sort of like, he looks kind of different to the first one. Well, part two, he looks different. So they're meant to follow on. For some reason, he changes his clothes, which he seems to do in every film somehow, which is really weird. But this was the only film to show him changing clothes. So he went from the dungarees and the plaid shirt to, yeah, wearing just a sort of green shirt and chinos. I don't know. But yeah, it scores highly for me. It's a really good film. Yeah, he looks great in it. It's a traditional slasher from that time frame. And yeah, it's a really good Friday the 13th film. I mean, I don't know what to say. It rocks, It's the first time he gets his hockey mask, so it's iconic. It's one of those. And it would be a shame to score it any less than what it deserves. So yeah, it's in at number 3 for me. So we've got 2 left. So without further ado, number 2. Some people are going to hate me for this. It's Friday the 13th, the remake. Now, this is a really fucking good slasher film, and it doesn't take away from the original character or the original concept. I think it just adds to it, and it adds a different layer and dimension. So if we start off with Derek Mears playing Jason Voorhees, he's fucking phenomenal, and he is huge. Now, they did really well with the prosthetics, kind of playing it similar to how he looks in the original films, even though he seems to have changed from film to film. They did a very, very good job of copying the original Tom Savini head sculpt that they used for the original films, especially part 2 and more so part 3. Now, he is more of a sort of hunter-gatherer in this one, which adds a different element, but you would be if you were living in the woods or by yourself. It doesn't take away from him, as a lot of people say it does. He's still got that supernatural element, but it gives him a lot more human element as well, because he's living under the sort of tunnels. That's how he gets from place to place. So making him a little bit more human in that regard, although he seems still impervious to pain and super strong and super fast, it doesn't take away from the character. So I really like that. He uses a bow and arrow at some point in the film, and yeah, it's just really good the way he improvises. I really like the throwback as well to part 2. They got Baghead Jason in this remake, and that's really good. I mean, that means the directors and the people that wrote the script have really done their fucking homework, and they're paying homage to the originals, which I like it. When they do that well in remakes, it works really well. They didn't fuck up the story. They kept it simple. The acting in it is actually really good. You've got your traditional characters from any sort of slasher film. And yeah, it works really well. Every kill is good. The story's good. They start you off and he slaughters a bunch of people as Baghead Jason. He looks terrifying as Baghead Jason. They probably could have kept that, to be honest. For me, that's a personal favourite. I think he actually looks a lot scarier with the bag over his head than the actual hockey mask. But he's scary in all of them. But, for me, the preference to Baghead is scarier. And yeah, Derek Mears does a really fucking good job. If he plays Jason again, because they're probably going to do, as I said, a Friday the 13th for the 13th film of the franchise. They've got to. If they do ever do that, and it is Derek Mears playing Jason again, I don't think anyone's going to be disappointed. Obviously, I think Kane Hodder is still the favourite because he's iconic as Jason, but Derek Mears did a real fucking good job. And yeah, I'm interested to see what the future holds for the Friday the 13th series. But yeah, so number 2, Friday the 13th, the remake. So that only leaves number 1 spot to fill, and this is probably going to be a surprise for a lot of people watching this series, but if you know me, then you'll know. And it's part 2. Now, for me, it's part 2 for a couple of reasons. So for a few reasons. So it starts off and you're actually at the survivor girl's house from the first film. She survived, Betsy Palmer, and she's having a nightmare about Jason Voorhees. She's in the safety of her apartment, and then she goes to the fridge, opens the fridge, and Jason Mum's head is there. Betsy Palmer's head is in the fucking fridge. And then she dies. Jason kills her. He goes to her house. He just doesn't stay at Camp Crystal Lake. He stalks her to her home and he kills her. And that is a great opening scene following on from the first. That's how you deal with the sequel. You've got the survivor girl, and a lot of people might be like, oh, it's unrealistic that she survived. Well, she didn't fucking survive. She got her comeuppance. I liked that. So that was tick box number 1. Tick box number 2 is the Baghead. Because I didn't originally know this going into the films. When I first watched them, I just thought Jason had a hockey mask and we were going to see him with a hockey mask. No, he's got this sack over his head and a little eye hole, and for some reason that is a lot more terrifying than an actual hockey mask. So that gets bonus points for me. I think he actually generally looks even more scary like that. So then we move on, and yeah, it's just really well filmed. He picks off everybody as you would expect in a Friday the 13th film. But for some reason, I just really enjoyed it. Enjoyed it a lot more than the other films. Baghead Jason's got a special spot in my horror heart. I can't quite put my finger on why. But yeah, I just think he looks more scary and intimidating than half of the other slashers. I love all of the Friday the 13th films, don't get me wrong, and I think he looked great with the hockey mask as well. And I'm not just basing it on looks. I think the film's done really well, and it follows on great from the first one. And for Jason's first outing, I just think it's a really good effort. And obviously it spawned all the other films, and obviously without that one, we wouldn't have the great scenes in the remake with the makeshift bag head that he's got there, or sack head, whichever you prefer to call him. And yeah, it just spawned a great legacy of films from that one film. If that one film had flopped, then, you know, we probably wouldn't have seen the others. They swapped the mask. I'm not entirely sure why. The hockey mask is cool. But yeah, just for me, it's just the top. It's my go-to. If I'm going to watch Friday the 13th film, it's that one and it's the remake, them two back to back. And then obviously if I've seen them recently, then we'll work our way down the list as we have done. And they're all great films in the slasher franchise. Obviously standalone films, if we're talking all-time greats, they're probably not up there, but we're talking purely slashers, then they're up there. They tick all the boxes. They got the fun, they got the sex, they got the killing. You know, it's all there. It's all there. It's everything you need. But yeah, the Baghead tops it for me. I just enjoy it. Enjoy it the most. You know, what can I say? People disagree, and that's fine. You know, put in the comments why you disagree. I want to know what your top 12 are. Let me know so I can revisit the list. I mean, my list can change at any given time. I think I watched the remake again a few months ago, and I was like, do you know what? That's probably the best Friday the 13th film. So that was number one for a period of time. But at the time of doing this video, remembering them as I do, number two at the moment's there. So yeah, that tops the spot. And it's one of the originals as well, and you can't really go wrong with that. I mean, Halloween list, I won't spoil it for you, but the original score high. The remake scores high as well, actually. There are a couple of franchises that have been done justice. But yeah, we'll wrap this up, guys. I don't want this video going on too long. It was just a quick summary for you to get your interest peaked, and I'll give you my top 12. So there we go. So yeah, I can quickly run through them for you. So we're going to go 12, Jason Goes to Hell. 11, Freddy vs. Jason. 10, Jason New Blood, which is part 7. Number 9 is Jason Takes Manhattan, part 6. Number 8 is Friday the 13th, the original with Betsy Palmer. Number 7 is Jason X. Number 6 is part 4. Number 5 is part 5. Number 4 is part 6, Jason Lives. Part 3 is 3. And the remake comes in at number 2. And part 2 is my number 1. For now, this could change. This is how I feel today. And this is the video that's going on fucking YouTube. So fucking watch it. Watch it, like it, subscribe, don't subscribe, fuck it, whatever. But put in the comments below your bottom 12, top 12, bottom 12, medium 12. Put in your 12. Let me know where they rank. Have a go at me. Argue with me. Call me a twat. Let's do it. Fuck it. Let's have it. Make it interesting. But until the next time, guys, peace.